Well, here we are. Season 2, Disc 7, Episode 142. The final episode of the season, and it's a two-parter. And it's a good thing they weren't canceled, but I still wish we had more Voyager. I really do. That's not fair that Generations got movies and Picard and all this other stuff going on, and we never got any more of Voyager. Nothing more of Voyager. I want some more Captain Admiral. She has got to be an admiral now. Admiral Janeway. I am also discouraged to discover that once again on the first disc, we'll talk about it next week when we start watching the new season. The episodes are not in order again. Again, that's like the third or fourth time this season. The episodes are not in order. Oh, and hey, by the way, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music. I'm a serious person. I like to binge. So every Friday we do Star Trek Next Generation recaps and or Star Trek Next Voyager recaps every Friday. And I will at some point go back and redo those Generation episodes that were garbled. So, and I'm also upset that there's no captain's log stardate, there's no introduction, we're not told what's going on, we're just dropped into the middle of the situation. So here we are, episode 142. So apparently, the evil guy, Suitor, is back, and he's doing genetic experiments. Really? And apparently, Tuvok is helping him with these genetic experiments. Just if. Then we are on the bridge, and Kim says we are being hailed on a subspace frequency. Janeway says, are there ships in the vicinity? Paris says negative. Tracking the source, it seems like it's coming from an unmanned buoy. Coordinates 140 Mark 317. Kim says it looks KAZON. Oops, do we really want to get involved with those people again? So the signal's not all that clear, but it is clear enough. And I knew this storyline was coming. You knew this storyline was coming. You saw it coming episodes and episodes and episodes ago, but you knew this storyline was coming. It's SESKA, and she's presenting Chakotay with his son. So then Chakotay and Janeway are having a discussion. This is not my responsibility. She has no right to expect me. She knows you, Chakotay. She knew how you'd react when you saw your son in danger. I have a duty to the crew. I just can't leave and go looking for a child. And I'd never consider letting you go into KAZON Nistrom Stronghold by yourself. If we do this, we do it together. There's something else SESKA would know too. You think it's a trap? Well, duh! Isn't it? Don't you see the writing on the wall? Of course it's a trap. I couldn't resist this close-up. We should ignore this message and resume our course. Yeah, but we can't help it. We're gullible. We're gonna walk into this trap. Even though we know it's a trap, we're still gonna walk into it. So Chakotay goes on a vision quest to see if he can answer his own questions. Doesn't. So then Neelix and Janeway and Paris and Tuvok and the doctor are in the briefing room, and Neelix says, I've been in touch with the Talaxi Mining Company on Prima 2. They're willing to come to our assistance if we run into trouble. That's about 40 hours if we average warp 2. After that, we're out of their comm range. Well, it's nice to know we have friends in the area. Thank you, Neelix. I recommend a full diagnostic of our tactical array prior to the start of this mission, Captain Tuvok says. Agreed. But I want more from tactical, Lieutenant. I want to anticipate a trap. I want to have a few tricks up our sleeves if we need them. Kim says, I could program the deflector grid to make it look like we have help on the way. I'll show you what I mean. Excuse me, Doctor, and Kim leaves. Oh, I just wanted to show this before I moved on. He's trying to have their senses show that they have help. And that's what he's showing on the screen here. So then the doctor suggests he has a suggestion. And Janeway says, "Your suggestions are always welcome." And the doctor's like, really? In that case, you may expect several more on a variety of matters in the future. Right now, now may I suggest we also consider attempting to create an actual holographic illusion of friendly ships. With all due respect, Doctor, we can't even figure out how to project you into this room. How are we supposed to create holographic ships in space? I would humbly submit that my program is far more sophisticated than your run-of-the-mill hologram. In fact, projecting the illusion of a large three-dimensional object has been a trick of magicians for centuries. Ah, Paris says, use mirrors. Yeah, he brings up the mirrors. I just wanted to show he was in the room. So the doctor says, installing hollow emitters along the hull with parabolic mirrors to enlarge images as they are reflected in space. We're going to use a lot of our power reserves trying to pull it off. Chakotay says, if these chips can fool the KAZON, it's worth it. But can they? If the KAZON scan the holograms, they will immediately realize there's no life signs on board, no power signatures. So she says, so maybe we can't fool them for long, but maybe it'll be long enough. It's an advantage, and we'll need every advantage we can get on this mission. Work with Doctor on it. Balana, Mr. Kim, cut power to all systems to minimize requirements. I don't want to show up on any KAZON long-range sensors. Mr. Parrish, locate the warp signature for Colin's ship, and course to follow, warp 2. And then Chakotay wants to have a private word. Oops, I was wrong about that. They're on the bridge. And Chakotay says, it's not called a ship, looks more like a shuttle. Janeway says, slow to impulse, set it into course. Mr. Paris, have they indicated the nature of their distress? It's just a signal, Kim says. Captain, no response to our hails. Let's go to radio alert. Visual range, on screen. One life sign on board. It's a KAZON, and Kes says his hip's broken. And the doc says he inhaled noxious gases, and he's had a nasty concussion, spinal cord trauma, and polysemia. And Chakotay goes like polysemia, and the doctor says an increase in the number of red blood cells. And Chakotay says, I'd like to run an automatic analysis the next time I question him. I'm afraid that won't help you determine if he's telling you the truth, Commander. An error depends on a baseline comparison with the known responses for given species. Any Tom, Dick, or Harry from the Alpha Quadrant could probably help you, but not with any of the species of the Delta Quadrant. Regarding his veracity, it may help you to know that if we arrived an hour later, he'd been dead. I also wanted to point out, and I didn't mention it previously, my error, but when Chakotay goes on his vision quest, he explains to his father that his SESKA stole his DNA from him when he was held captive, and that's how she impregnated herself with his DNA. They never actually got together. And hold on a sec. So the bad guy says that SESKA is dead. Seska thought she could manipulate Maz. She bragged about it to me more than once, but this time she was wrong. We had just launched the buoy with the message to you. They came for her. They cut her throat as Cullen watched. He ordered them to execute me, but I bribed one of the guards to give me a shuttle. As soon as he saw it leaving, Colin opened fire, destroyed my life support systems, and left me to die. What about the child? Taken to Gemma 4 Colony to be raised as a servant. We'll need your help getting to Gemma system. You're going after them, the ship alone? I want nothing to do with this. I'm not taking you into Nistrum space. Under the circumstances, Chakotay says you don't have a choice. I don't know why the camera has to be here, but anyway, it's here. Chakotay asked him for his prognosis. He'll be on his feet in a day or two, but there's still a number of things we need to keep an eye on. He's had a nasty concussion, spinal cord trauma, and polycythemia, the cause of which I've yet to discover. Polycythemia, an abnormal increase in the number of red blood cells. I'd like you to run an automatic response analysis the next time I question him. I'm afraid that won't determine if he's telling the truth, Commander. An ARA depends on making baseline comparisons with the known given species. Any Tom, Dick, or Harry from the Alpha Quadrant could probably help you, but not with this guy, it won't. Ah, it's a section I missed. So then we're in engineering with B'Elanna. The molecular variance residual on a shuttle is evident if disruptor blast, and the signature is KAZON. So at least that part of the story is true. Plus, Kim says we confirmed the nitrotoxin fumes were in the cabin. If this is all part of a KAZON scheme, he had to be willing to breathe poison for hours before we got there. Have you found anything that would cast doubt on the story? No. But Chakotay says I still don't trust the guy. Well, you don't trust the enemy for nothing. So not only is the guy not handcuffed or confined or behind of shields, what you call it? I can't think of the word now. Force field. He's not confined anywhere. They're allowing him to walk around the ship just free. Really? Seriously? The trip would take 6 days at warp 2. 4 days if we don't take much of a circuitous route, Neelix says. You would encounter the Nishtan fleet before a single day passed. Anyone who knows this part of space will tell you the same thing. Neelix says, if it happens so that I know this part of space, my KAZON friend, I just wanted to see if you would tell us the truth. The route he suggests is safer, Captain. Of course it's safer. I don't want to run into color any more than you do. Paris doesn't have any lines. He's just in the room. Chakotay says, we might have more success avoiding him if you gave us the command codes for the Nistrim defense net. Computer display to tactical overview of our current course. Enter code sequence 491170 color. And networks come up on the screen. Mr. Paris, adjust us course to avoid the defense net. Aye, Captain. This is not an end to the danger. We're heading into an area of space populated by KAZON factions that are not loyal to no one. They will attack without provocation. Well, duh. You know, they're on the bridge. There are lights on the bridge. So why can't I see anything? That's my biggest complaint with these shows is the lighting. I want to be able to see stuff. They're on the bridge. It's daytime. What the F? Vessel approaching coordinates 314 Mark 21. The signature is KAZON. Red alert. Tuvok says, a small raider, Captain. It does not pose a significant threat. Nevertheless, it is powering up its weapon system. And they start firing each other's shields are holding. They sustain minor damage to secondary command processors on Deck 12. EPS power supplies and linear controllers are offline. No casualties, though. Begin repairs. Mr. Kim, any sign of any KAZON ships? Nothing on long-range sensors, Paris says. The raider is continuing to retreat. We should have a couple hours to ourselves at least. Good, we can use them. Stand down, red alert. Paris says, Captain, we're about to go beyond comm range of the Talaxian colony. Just thought you'd like to know. Thank you, Mr. Paris. So, Tuvok brings Janeway in to see Mr. Suter. Mr. Suter says he's had encouraging results with a new gene splicing technique. He's targeted restriction enzyme to facilitate the hybrid. And you feel you could experiment on our aeroponic crops here in your quarters. Absolutely. I would make this aeroponic laboratory an All I would need are a few plants, certain chemicals, and equipment. What sort of chemicals and equipment? Nothing dangerous. I prepared a list. I'll get back to you. Mr. Suda, let me discuss it with Cass and Lieutenant Tuvok. I'm not sure what this is all about, what this has to do with the storyline, but they've done it twice now, so I want to know what's going on here. All right. It's an outside view of Voyager, and an outside view of Voyager means we get a captain's log. It looks like they're also being attacked. Captain's log supplemental. None of the four KAZON attacks have caused serious damage, but the starboard ventral has been hit each time, complicating repairs on the secondary command processors. Do they have a strategic thing involved? So we're back in sick bay, and the doctor says he's improving significantly, but the only problem is the polysemia. It's not going away. So the doctor keeps examining him, and he's trying to find the cause of it. And he asks him about his parents, and he says his parents died when he was a child. And then Chakotay's there, and they have a few words. So we're back on the bridge again with the lighting. I can't see nothing. What's up with the lighting situation? It goes here and it goes here and it goes here, so we're just gonna go through it. They're coming at our starboard ventral again. Our shields haven't been repaired yet. We're going to sustain more damage on the secondary command processors. Starboard ventral. Warning, fire have been detected on decks 12, 15, sections A, 4 through 18. Control units are responding, Captain. Keep our port forequarter facing the line of attack, Mr. Paris. Don't let them see our starboard ventral. I'm doing my best, Paris says. Continuous fire, starboard phasers. Acknowledge. They're withdrawing, Captain. Stand down, red alert. Mr. Kim, deck 12 is in shambles. We've barely had time to begin repairs before they attack again. At least no one was hurt. The secondary command processors are non-functional. We'll have to rebuild them. I'd say we're looking at 2 days' work if we're not attacked again. Why would these fractions of KAZON loyal to no one all have the same agenda, and why would they focus on our non-essential areas of SIP? I don't know, but it feels like we're being pecked to death by ducks. We just can't stay on this course and wait to see what they have in store for us. I agree, Janeway says. It's time to re-examine our plan. Mr. Paris, reverse course. Aye, Captain. Mr. Tirana should be restricted to quarters on secure deck until further notice, Chakotay says. Tuvok says acknowledged. Yeah, why are you letting this guy run the ship? Neelix brings Suda his dinner. I don't know what's going on here, but the bad guy's in the background. Again, what's with the lighting? We're back on the bridge. There should be lots of lights in the bridge. We should be able to see stuff in the bridge. What's going on here? So, 8 large carrier vessels, KAZON, show up. Funny how they show up after we reverse course, Chakotay says. Time to intercept. Paris says 8 minutes. Their attack formation is classic Cardassian echelon. Curious. They left us with an obvious avenue of escape, Captain. You're right. It's curious. Too curious for me. I don't know what's down the avenue of escape, Mr. Tuvok, but I'd like to choose my own way. Set a course to intercept their lead ship. Aye, Captain. Battle stations, Janeway says. 3 minutes, 10 seconds, give or take a top one for Fido. Mr. Kim, echo displacement ready, Captain. Send in the cavalry, and they do the stuff. So then we're with B'Elanna in engineering, and she's getting the hollow projection stuff ready. Paris says, here we go. Tuvok says they are randomly detonating torpedoes in our flight path. Shields are holding, no damage. Hold your fire. Mr. Tuvok, they may have torpedoes to waste. We don't. 30 seconds to intercept. Take us out of warp. Engaging impulse engines. Power to all weapon systems. Standby phasers. KAZON vessel 10,000 kilometers off our starboard bow. Not yet. 6,000 kilometers. Not yet. I hate this countdown stuff. They do it all the time. So 2 more KAZONs approaching, Tuvok says. Shields at 90%. And then they show the guy in his quarters chanting for whatever reason. And then Janeway says, start the hollow emitters. So she's starting. Valana's in the engineering doing the holographic stuff, and the doctor appears outside the ship. He says, "Man overboard." So then the doctor reappears in his office, and the doctor says, "I told you we should have run one last systems check." I know this is getting old hat, but the lighting, come on! Don't we want to see what's going on here? 4Ks on ships dead ahead, and they're dividing their fire captain. The holograms are working. Ready photon torpedoes. Torpedoes loaded. Take us about, Mr. Paris. We want a good angle on that 4 ship. Coming about. 141 Mark 20. Fire torpedo number 1. Starboard roll. Evasive maneuvers. Lambda sequence. Fire. They hit the KAZON ships. Shields at 85% and holding. Minor damage reports. Deck 14. Come about to 143 Mark 06. Coming about. Ready for torpedoes. Fire. And Terran sticks a needle and he does them. What's going on here? So he sticks his needle in himself and the wall explodes and he ends up in Suda's quarters. And as a result, all the holograms come down. They lose their entire holographic program. So now that the ships are gone, the KAZON ships are firing at them continually and they're losing shields and there's panic. And again, what's with the lighting? Janeway tells B'Elanna she wants to go to warp. B'Elanna says they can't go to warp. Their containment field generator has been damaged and she's attempting to bypass. So then Paris says, if I can take a shuttle through the crossfire, I can go back and bring Talaxines to help. Chakotay, take the comm. Good luck, Lieutenant. So Tom takes the shuttle out, and then they lose contact with the shuttle. So then there's a lot of this and this and this and this, so I'm just going to go through it. Kim tries to contact Paris. He can't contact him. Chakotay says the navigation array is offline. Tuvok says we lost power to forward phasers. Kim says shields are down to 30% and they're buckling. Then one of the consoles explodes. Janeway says report. Kim says the driver coil assembly has been destroyed. Impulse engines are offline and they're being boarded. Tuvok says. It's in the dark. Can't see much. Just the fires of the weapons. Can't see too much of the KAZONs. Can't see too much of the bridge. I don't know. You need to have lighting when you can see stuff. I think Generation did the lighting better, but it's so dark here in Voyager. I can't see anything. So the KAZON come on board. They have a firefight. Janeway says she wants to speak to the Maj, and he says it can easily be arranged. And SESKA shows up. I told you she wasn't dead. All right, just give me a second here. The crew is in the middle of the bridge, and the KAZON are walking around them. And it's dark, and you can only see the people because the camera's here. What's the deal? Can you turn on the light so we can actually see stuff? So then, like I said, SESKA and the two colors show up. And uh he hits Janeway and he says, "You'll be given no more respect than any KAZO woman. Now that your ship and technology are mine, I will tell you when to speak. Allow my crew to live. They were following my orders. You're even worse than she is. What is it about the woman of your quadrant? You know she contradicts me in front of the senior Asker. My own woman disputing the marriage in front of others. This is your fault. You let your woman get out of control. SESKA says you have my deepest sympathy. Why is it so dark in here? Someone turn on the lights." Yeah, that's what I was saying. Turn on the lights. And Seska's got to torment Chakotay with her child. She's bringing her child into a firefight. What the F? I was gonna show it, but it's just too dark to see it. They stopped pushing Neelix around, but it's just too dark. So then they get into sick bay, and Kes is there. Then the doctor turns off his holograph for 12 hours, and the KAZON can't find him. He's checking, he's looking. So then the guy is getting an update, and he says, we've accounted for all of the crew but two, and there's also a shuttle missing. Yes, we destroyed the shuttle as it was leaving. Has this been confirmed? Seska says. Fine, have the other ships send out search parties, confirm the shuttle was destroyed. And even if they find wreckage that seems to be from the shuttle, tell them to look for a warp trail. She's forever issuing orders, and she's not supposed to be the one in command. So the KAZON land the ship on the planet. They take all the comm badges from the team members. Neelix is there. Janeway's there. Janeway's telling Neelix to help improve morale. Chakotay says they're clearing a cliff. They're gonna look for food. They're gonna look for survival stuff. And that's where the episode ends. So that was the end of season 2, disc 7, episode 142. The Basics. Don't forget to tune in to JD Rob, Eve Dallas tomorrow. We'll talk characters, unboxing on Sundays. Don't forget If Then later this afternoon, and Flashback Monday, and of course my daily book reviews. Have a good one.